I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to MacWave. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Central Coast, Monterey, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers, right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I'm your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and a lot of frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters, tech benches, genius bars, whatever you want to call it, that you have ever visited. That's right, welcome to your local radio station, your local Santa Cruz, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, as well as KSQ Team Prudendale, and always online at ksqd.org. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. So stoked to be here with you. So stoked to be here with you here tonight with my packet of emails, my garbage pail full of scams and all these things. I'm bringing more and more paper each time. Now I recycle the paper, of course, we reuse it in the shop and stuff, but like, dude, I'm not bringing old stuff in every time. There's more and more and more things going on, and I'm bringing in more and more and more things. Of course, I'm catching up on all the emails. We have a packet of emails coming through, so we're gonna have a lot of things going on, about 2.5 hours worth of stuff in this 1 hour show. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. Welcome all my old listeners, my new listeners, everyone who's listening out there in the world, everyone who's tuned in and is listening right now. I appreciate you all, the old listeners and new listeners, of course, everyone out there, and stoked to be here with you, actually. Yes, hello, everybody out there. So what are we going to do about tonight? We are going to talk about all sorts of things, including our amazing KSQD website, where you can listen to our audio archive there in case you've caught anything from the show that might have, we might have zipped past or gone a little bit too quick on. You can just jump on our ksqd.org website, click on the audio archive tab, and you'll see our listening tab under the 2-week audio archive. There's a listening tab, and then you click on that, shows up with a 2-week audio archive, and you're set to go. Pardon me, I had to sneeze. So, moving from there, while you're checking out our amazing website, which changes all the time, so many current events, things going on around town, things are going around the county, our state, and here at the station, you can also hit that giant donate button at the very top. Yes, the donate button, my favorite part, because it allows me to come in and talk with you. I could not be here without it, so I talk about it all the time. It is my buddy, and it allows us to actually keep everything going here at K-Squid, make everything exactly the way that it should be, as it is here at the illustrious KSQD studios here in Santa Cruz. And we're stoked to be here with you tonight, but hit that donate button, do what you can, make it your fair share, and we sincerely thank you for it. If you'd like to reach out to me after the show, you can always email me, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. And if you'd like to be a part of the magic tonight, give me a call, 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. And we're also going to have the on-air at ksqd.org. That's going to be our email. Bringing that up right now as well. Bam, there it is. So if you want to email me something over, you have a quick comment, concern, question, love to talk with you about it here on air at ksqd.org. All right, what exactly is the Computer Man Show? What have you stumbled across? What are you going to be listening to for the next hour here on KSQD and ksqd.org? We are a computer show. Updates, new devices, testimonials, scams, and our call-ins, of course, at 831-900-5773. Yes, this is a call-in show. It is. You can call me in. You can take up the entire show. Let's do it. It's your show. Free tech support. Give us a call, 900-5773. We're here every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. And our phone number again, it's the 900-KSQD or on air at ksqd.org. You can shoot me over an email. All right, let's see. So we all are trying to get out there, trying to get, doing the hustle, trying to make sure we can get jobs, side hustles, etc. And there are a multitude of new scams starting with just remote work. That's not remote work. Check to see where these things are coming from. I think right now the biggest thing I can tell anybody, if I'm like elevator pitching my thing about like how to keep yourself out of scams for 3 seconds or 30 seconds to the next floor, right? Check who it's from. That's all you got to do. I'm not sure if this is real. Check who it's from. I'm not sure if this is something I should click on. Check who it's from. I don't know who this is from. Check who it's from. Yeah? Because if you saw something that said like, hello, I'm Christina Hill with Kelly Services. We offer full-time remote jobs, part-time, full-time jobs. We notice your background and resume have been recommended by several online recruiters, so we'd like to offer you a part-time job that you can do in your free time. The work is simple and can be done at home. No time limit. Wages from $180 to $950, all paid the same day, blah, blah, blah. Get a hold of us on WhatsApp. Even though they didn't text you on WhatsApp, they said get a hold of you on WhatsApp. But then I look at the email address, which is madness. It's like something at something.com.de. And you're like, okay, so that's either a .com that then is getting forwarded over to Germany or Germany first and then back. It's fake, right? And you don't even need to waste your time or wonder or spend any brain cells on it at all. Just get rid of it. It's not real. What about if Wells Fargo calls you and they maybe possibly ask for too much information? Now, we've all called a reputable source. We've been the one who's called the reputable source, and we've called the number on the back of our card so we know it's the real number or whatever it is, and you called the thing and they ask you certain things, but they don't ask you a lot of certain things. Or the best one that I can really equate for everybody is like calling like Comcast or calling your internet service provider, where there's some security, but there's not like a lot of security. There's security, but there's not a lot of security. You know what I mean? Like, you're not calling the bank and trying to do like a bank transfer over the phone. You're calling your internet company trying to change like your Wi-Fi password or something, right? Which is like secure, but it's not really secure. You know what I mean? So it's not money you're transferring. It's your Wi-Fi password. So when an organization calls you and asks for too much information, that's another way also you can tell this is a red flag. So someone said they got an extremely convincing call from Wells Fargo Fraud Department, claiming that there was an attempt to use a debit card internationally and to verify some details. It then transferred me to an automated agent, asked for card details, but then started asking for more information than what I thought they should ask. So I started making up data. Wrong expiration dates, wrong street addresses, wrong PIN numbers, but it kept validating the data. There's a lot of AI voices now. A lot of things are coming. A lot of new stuff we've never seen. It's like right on the horizon. We thought it was the Wild West before. Welcome to the world of AI. As I was doing this, it says I also went to the Wells Fargo website and there was no fraud notice. This person, whoever it is, they're on it. If you can get if you receive something from an organization, such as a large bank or something that maybe, I don't know, has millions and millions of dollars behind it, there's ways to check, right? You're not like calling Billy down at Wells Fargo and he's like, hey, Billy, Billy's taking care of all of fraud department for all of Wells Fargo. It doesn't work that way, right? Billy's not doing that. Billy has a team of 10,000 people with him or 5,000 people all over the world doing things like this, right? It's not just a dude. So if it's not just a dude, you can most likely go online and find out another way, especially with the world of the internet, everybody, right? You can go online and get onto your app and look instantly. Is there that giant red banner across the top or a yellow banner saying, hey, you owe something. Hey, you screwed up. Hey, this has been flagged. Hey, something's been shut down. Hey, something's going on. Hey, check this out. It's a notification, right? We all get notifications on everything we don't want to get on. Why not get a notification on something that might help us figure out if something is real? So again, this person goes online. They see there's no fraud thing on their Wells Fargo account at all because they've signed on with their app on their phone in 3 seconds and figured that out and saw that. Smart. And then it says, as they were going, this person immediately turned off their debit card via the Wells Fargo app and then also called Wells Fargo directly. The Wells Fargo IFR voice sounded exactly like the voice that called me, and the questions were very similar, including the "we recognize your phone number" prompt, but they did not ask expiration dates, PIN numbers, etc. Coming from a data security person, myself, and also someone who has run like IT for like little companies and stuff like that, or even for schools, when you put your password in, it goes dot 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 dot, and you now have that password in the system. Yeah, IT can go back and they can look at what the password is if they go through some extra hoops and loops, but they don't want to do that. They're just going to send you a new password prompt. They're going to send you, okay, here's your authenticated thing, boom, right to your prompt. You type in your new password, and that's your new password. I don't know what it is. IT doesn't know what it is. IT doesn't want to know what it is. There's no same thing with a PIN. You can put in your PIN to verify you are, and then that like verifies you inside the system. But that's like when you're standing at the bank or when you're standing in front of an ATM, and it's one of your 3 ways to convince that you're you, right? Like it's the whole like, okay, I've walked up to the ATM and you can shout at it as much as you want. It's not going to give you money. If you put a card in, it's not going to give you money. If you just type in a PIN number with no card, it's not going to give you money. Or if you were to try to put a PIN number in not standing at the ATM or something, you have to be all those things together. You have to be a human standing at the ATM with your card, with your PIN number, and that allows you in. Those are your modes of authentication. So same thing with this. A lot of these services, a lot of these automated systems don't ask you for a PIN number, or they'll have a secret word that you've set up so you can get in some other way, but that's all been set up and told you in the first place. So again, this was a very sophisticated system that this person caught on to, which was cool. This person said, I normally smell these scams from a mile away. This one was much more sophisticated than any one of these. This is Microsoft, your PC is broken ones that I've received. But again, best bet, always let these just go to voicemail. Just let them go to voicemail. If it's something important, they'll leave a voicemail. You can then follow up in the voicemail, figure out the phone number. And a lot of these places are catching on to that, the fact that everyone gets scams. So now if they know that for a fact. So if they're expecting to go to voicemail, and they will leave you a detailed voicemail about what's going on, from what I've found. Okay, so... But yeah, and they'll leave a phone number. You can call them back, etc. But then you can log into your real account and see if there's any actual activity, right? It's all about looking at your actual account. But of course, don't call back the number they called from. Make sure that you actually go out and look for the phone number that is actually of that organization, so you can actually call the real people and check. I went to a client's home just recently, and his older client, and he has a number of investment accounts, and he got this text message from Money Market Manager. And that's what it's from. It wasn't from a money market manager. It wasn't from his money market manager. It wasn't from Ted the money market manager. It was just from Money Market Manager. And he was saying how you had to log into this website, and he had to make sure that he had to put in his information by this certain date. And I scrolled up, and he had 30 of these. He was like, oh, I've been getting a lot of them. I need to do that. I keep putting it off. He's like, but I don't really feel like, he's like, can you help me with it when I was at his home? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'd love to help you out with it. I'm like, I mean, you're sure this, I'm like, I'm not a financial guy. I don't know all the financial market things and stuff. I'm like, I don't know that stuff. I'm like, if you're telling me this is real, I'll help you do the login process. But I'm like, I can't verify if this is something that's legitimate or not. It just kind of looks kind of fishy to me coming from just my background. And he's like, no, this is real. And I started looking at it, and I, and it's on his phone. So I click on the link on his phone, which he has an iPhone, which I'm a lot of times okay with clicking on links on phones. Now, granted, clicking on links on phones, when I'm saying that, I'm being very vague. I'm not worried about a virus getting onto my iPhone. I'm not worried about a link taking over my iPhone and taking over control, and then my iPhone's bricked or something. My iPhone is much more embedded than my Windows PC or even my MacBook is. So I'll open sometimes risky links on my iPhone, and it won't mess with other things that it might mess with if it was on a computer. So I also know what I'm clicking on, see what the links are, and know how to get out of it. So I'm also, being a little bit more risky because I'm more of I have a little more experience out there, right? So I'm just saying, don't do that for yourself. This isn't a thing to say, hey, just go click on risky links on your iPhone. It's just to let you know. So I go through and I click on that link, and it takes me to a website. And I go, okay, this is weird. I'm like, I don't really feel like doing this on a website. Let's on the phone, let's jump over onto a PC. I type in that exact link into a PC, and it won't load. It's not a real website. And I keep going back, and I could see that it was jumping, you go to that link and then would forward to another link, and that other link then was some random other thing. So I told him, I was like, hey, I don't really feel comfortable with this. This doesn't look right to me. I would like you to talk to your financial planner and double check that this is what they're asking for. And later that day, I got a call. Oh man, I am so glad you had me call a financial planner. It was absolutely fake. It was not real. Those guys have been scamming everybody, and evidently this guy's financial planner had been getting a lot of phone calls about it. That's people who had already signed in and done a whole bunch of stuff, and we stopped it right in his tracks. So, dude, it's just, again, let things go to voicemail. Just take a second. If someone's calling you and they need stuff right now, I'll get back to you. Just for real, just slow down. And I have to also, I'm saying that because I kind of need to say it to myself as well. Because sometimes I see this stuff and I freak out and I start reacting. I see the line of emails I have. I see things and I start going, right? Just slow down. It's been sitting in your email. It was sitting in your email. It will sit in your email. Relax. Just take a second. And again, that's more advice for myself than for everyone. But just to say it out loud, give a sec. I mean, and we're not talking hours. You can fill stuff out a minute or two later or 10 minutes later. Just give it a minute. Just let it stew. Are you sure? Are you sure that's what it is? Just relax, right? And again, more to myself. So, all right. Anyway, going along with this last thing, it says the bank's regular customer service and fraud department doesn't. It always says it's true that normally that the bank's regular customer service and fraud department doesn't leave a number. Depends on the bank. But this person should have made very clear that if they leave a number, it should be ignored completely, and the correct number should be gotten from the back of the card. Or if not, it's not possible, logging into your service. Like if I log into like my Chase service or my Santa Cruz County Bank service, it would then say like the phone number for contact us. It would say it right there. That I would then know, right? Because I can do a Google search and find all sorts of crazy numbers that say it's the bank. But if I'm inside the app, that number will be correct. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we're going for. Okie dokie, artichoke. Let's see what else we've got going on here in the world. A lot of articles. Should we go to articles? Let's go to articles. Sure, let's get. I don't think we have any scam. Unless I have. Oh, I did get one other scam. I always like the fun ones, and the fun ones are the ones that are, well, they're kind of fun because they're kind of ridiculous. And the one that I got was, finding it here in my phone, what is that? Oh, that's just that, that's that. Okay, this is, okay, so, another semi-large company, you might have heard of it, Coca-Cola. They texted, but they texted someone that came into the shop that wanted to show this to me. And it was basically it was like a job recruitment, and it came from Teshegar Zaleke Grand Fazir. That's the name that it came from, and it's got a picture of I think it looks like a girl. I think it's kind of fuzzy, but she has like black hair with like a red stripe in the front, like in the parking lot or something. That's like her profile picture, and it says, "Are you interested in working at the Coca-Cola Company? If you are interested, you will work 7 hours in our company, and we will pay you $2,500 every week. You will prepare the drinks." So that is probably a scam. Kind of curious. Those are the type of ones that I kind of go, oh, really? And I want to just waste my time on and like waste their time, but I kind of want to waste their time. I want to see where this is go. I will prepare the. That sounds great. I will prepare the drinks. Where do we want to go? And then, this, and again, just waste their time, but obviously, because I'm just kind of curious, and I don't know, at that point, I guess I would be bored. So that's, I think all we got for the scams. I like that one, though. So Coca-Cola, also like a $1 trillion company or a multi-billion dollar company, emailing, from, what was the name of that person's name? Or the lady's name? It was, it doesn't really matter. It was, Teshegar Zaleke Grand Fazir. Of course, I forgot that one. Okay, let's move along. I've got some current events. Current events going on here in the world. Those are the email. That's the email packet. Oh, no, that was from last week. We already read that one. Okay, so there is... First, we'll talk PC, and then we'll go to Mac, and then we'll go to a break. So Microsoft is now talking about... what everyone's been complaining about. It's super cool. So, I mean, not super cool, but it's awesome that things are being complained about enough online, like all the consumer garbage that's inside Windows 11 that is like stopping people from using their computers because it's stupid. I mean, I understand, I guess, whatever, I'm complaining about it because I think it's stupid when it all really comes down to it, when I'm at the end user point and I'm in front of somebody's computer and like, it doesn't do this. And I go, let me check why. And it's Microsoft doing stupid stuff because of their rights and their way that they want to make sure all their stuff is licensed, the way that it's licensed. You're like, ugh. So anyway, I'm sorry, going off on a tangent. So Microsoft's new Windows chief came out and there's like this 20-page article about it. Came out talking about the future of Windows and Windows 12 and how great it's going to be and stuff. And I'm like, dude, Windows 11 sucks. Windows 10, I hated it at first. I hated it. And then you guys fixed it. And then all of a sudden there was like this night switch in 22H2 or 21H2, I think, the update series. And all of a sudden, the machine just like lit up. And it was like I was using a completely different computer. And that actually led me to get a Windows 10 machine. I was using Windows 7 for days, way longer than I wanted to admit I was, but I was. And it was great. And the same thing, I would want to use Windows XP. But like they're already talking about now that if you plug in a Windows XP machine onto the internet, that it just automatically gets inundated with malware and viruses because of the way that Windows XP is like vulnerable or something like that. I don't know. Tangent. Okay, so anyway, going back. Pavan, I'm sorry, it could be Pavan Davuluri, hasn't been the head of Windows for 2 months. He hasn't even been there for 2 months, but he's already been tasked with announcing Microsoft's transition to ARM-powered chips. We actually talked about this last week. Snapdragon, Qualcomm's is the company. Snapdragon is the brand of the processor, like an Intel Pentium, right? Or like a Ford Ranger, right? Like that type of thing. It's the Qualcomm Snapdragon. So the Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, which is the one that Microsoft says is going to take on the M1, M2, M3 processors that Mac is now making. I don't know what Intel's doing and what AMD is doing. They're just hanging out in the background doing something. I don't know if they're going to make an ARM processor too. I don't know what's going on. But they have been doing this, whole thing where Microsoft's moving to ARM processing and using a lot of AI with their Copilot. You might have seen, if you have Windows 11, that little circle, colorful wave ribbon. I have no idea what that is. It's like, looks like you drop watercolor or drop food coloring into water or something. It doesn't matter. It's on the bottom right hand corner of your Windows 11. That's Copilot. That is the I guess what Cortana was, or it's the new version of Cortana, but it's better. And Cortana is Microsoft's Siri, which is the Amazon Assistant, the Alexa Assistant, all that stuff. So Alexa, stop. They've been talking about all this stuff, but one of the things that they've been addressing is the stuff that people have been complaining about, and one of those things are the ads. How you're getting ads in your start menu, people. Start menu? No. Okay. First of all, they started doing you remember toolbars. Oh yeah, I still have a little thing on my checkout slip on computers to check if there's toolbars. Toolbars have been gone for about maybe 6 or 7 years now, but toolbars are probably around 5 years ago because I remember talking about them, I believe, on this show. Anyway, but toolbars were a way that you could get advertisements all over the place. And there was actually one of the first ways to allow, it was like one of the first extensions basically in web browsing where you could add something to a browser. Like there was the San Francisco Giants toolbar where KNBR had a button on there, and you could click on the button, it would take you directly to the radio station. You would click on the Giants thing, and it would take you directly to the Giants store to buy tickets or to buy merchandise or something. And then there was like a search in there. You could search the Giants website or something, or you could turn it into a Google search or whatever, just right there in the bar before Google Chrome came out, where they actually turned the bar into a search menu standard. So there was things like that, and there was the way that the internet was. But that started bringing the ads, because if you had the toolbar, you start getting pop-up ads. You would start getting different things in your browser, and it was the start of extensions. So dude here has now, he's leading the Surface and Windows team through the AI era, they say, and that has the potential to upend how we use computers. It's like, okay, great. And this person from The Verge sat down with them to talk with them about the Windows Surface tablet, if Microsoft's still going to experiment with hardware, and if they should expect to see an end to the ads that are ruining the Windows experience. And that right there, just the fact that he asked that he brought it up to one of the head millionaires at Microsoft. And you're like, dude, I had the ability and the privilege. I'm usually, I have the radio show, I talk a lot and stuff like that. But usually I like to think I'm more, in ways more reserved at certain times. What I'm talking about is I once did a job for another company I was working at Real Player. Do you remember Real Player? Vaguely, a little bit. It was a player back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, where it was you would get a Real Player file, and I think it was .rp even, and it would play a video in the middle of this bigger square. So you have this tiny little window in the center, and there were ads all the way around it. Just like in the movie Idiocracy when they're watching TV, and you have a tiny TV in the center, and the entire around it is a press your luck board full of ads. That's what the Real Player was. It was so bad. It would install so many background things. It would automatically install toolbars and all sorts. It was terrible. It was incredibly. It was vindictive without being vindictive. It was evasive. It had a hard time uninstalling. It was bad. It was just bad. So I had another job where I was doing security system stuff, where I would install these high-level access control systems in government buildings and stuff. And in one of the buildings that we did, Real Player was inside that building. And I remember doing I was installing one of the sensors, one of like the temperature sensors in the ceiling, above one of the desks of one of the programmers, and he had Real Player like logos and stuff on his desk, and I didn't have a name tag on, thank goodness, and I knew I was almost done in that room. Wasn't gonna have to go back, and I asked the guy, I was smart, stupid enough to be smart about it. But I asked, hey, well, you're a real player, huh? And I started going, oh yeah, Real Player. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm one of the main people. I'm one of the main programmers for Real Player. I'm like, really? I'm like, you're doing all that background code and stuff and make Real Player like the way that it is? And he's like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, it sucks. It sucks. Screw you, dude. I hate Real Player. And screw you for making all these other formats use your player. And a guy, didn't get in his face or anything, but I'm up on a ladder. He's sitting at his desk, and I'm like kind of talking like down at him from the ladder, and it wasn't a good look. No. And but at the same time, to this day, I still feel good that I got to tell somebody at that player, say, your platform sucks. And it sucks because you're exploiting people having to use it. And now I've got to look at all these ads. I have no choice but to be inundated with whatever garbage you're trying to sell me in order to get to the small video that I just want to watch in order to escape from my day. And that's what you're doing. And I hate you for it. And so enjoy your Real Player programming. And Real Player was gone. I mean, I like to think that a Real Player was gone about 3 years later because of me. No, it wasn't. No, I think it just died because it sucked. But so there's ads. People hate ads. People hate ads in their experience. People hate ads in their operating system. I mean, back in the video game days, you could have a video game. You could have like Need for Speed, right? And Need for Speed back in the day, like in like PlayStation 2 days, were brilliant because they would put literal real ads on the billboards in the game. So they would sell ad space to manufacturers, to people like Mountain Dew or whatever, and they would put their ads inside the billboards on the racetrack, which is brilliant because on the real racetrack that you're actually racing on in the game has real billboards. So it makes it feel like it's a real thing, and they're selling ad space, and there it is. That's an ad space that's okay with me. Because that's part of like the real landscape. I'm bombarded with ads in the real world. I'm on a racetrack, wherever I want to, if I'm zooming past and you see a Mountain Dew thing or a Pepsi thing or whatever. That's okay. That I accept. And then even when the machines started going online really big in the PlayStation 3 days, then those ads would update, right? The billboards would change. But then they stopped doing that. Not necessarily stopped doing that. They started extending more, and you started seeing ads everywhere. And that's just weird. So, blah, blah, Microsoft is counting on its Copilot to help change how apps are built for Windows. And they really didn't... kind of skirted the issue I read the article. This kind of skirted the issue about, I think, when he asked about the ads, and it's just all it's like literally trying to compete with Apple, just trying to be the next $5 trillion company. I mean, they're both sitting at like just under or just at $4 trillion for their company valuation or whatever for the company, whatever the money is, and it's how much more money do you need? Start making an experience that actually works, and stop upgrading it right when you fix it. I think that's it, because I use Windows 10, and now Windows 10 works, and it's a good solid operating system. It works. It's like Windows 7 was when it was like solid. It works, and it installs very quickly, and you can do the drivers easily, and things are functioning. And now you got to screw it up with Windows 11, and now they're saying in October 2024 this year. I think it's either this year or next year. I think it might be this year, that Windows 10 is now going to start becoming like where you can't use it, or the security certificates go away. And I'm a little worried about what they're going to do with that, because they've gotten so evasive in how they do things. I'm curious what's going to happen. Are we all going to be pushed into Windows 11? Because I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of machines that will not run Windows 11. And I'm not saying that like was like how Windows 10 made, was so heavy for Windows 7 machines. Nothing like that. I'm talking about Windows 11 needs a special chip. And that special chip called a TPM, a Trusted Platform Module chip, is not in 90% of the Windows 10 machines that are out there. It just doesn't have them. Now they're starting to become more and more, because a lot of machines have Windows 11 in them now. But if you're trying to upgrade your old Windows 10 machine that's still working just fine, it's going to be another e-waste wash, I think, of all these machines that can't be installed. Now, granted, they're probably going to have some type of USB Trusted Platform Module chip or something like that they'll come up with that allows Windows 11 to install, or you can install a lesser version of Windows 11 that doesn't have the Trusted Platform Module in it, that you have to sign some consent form or something, whatever. They're going to do something, I think, but dude, it's just gross, and it kind of sucks. So, yay, positivity. All right, let's get to a quick break, and we'll get to some email questions. And I'm also going to talk about Apple and a creaseless folding MacBook. What? Let's talk about that. All right, we're going to go real quick. This is the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Don't go anywhere. We will be literally right back.
Hi, it's Dr. Dawn Mutika of Ask Dr. Dawn here on KSQD. We're going to be making a change, and I want to be sure we keep you up to date. You may have seen newspaper articles describing the new family medicine residency program in Santa Cruz. I'm very proud to be designated faculty in this program. So, due to those obligations, I need to transfer my time slot on Ask Dr. Dawn to Thursday, 6 p.m., starting on May 16th. I sincerely hope that you will be able to follow me to the new time slot and continue to be a loyal listener to Ask Dr. Dawn.
My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of the Computer Man Show, a one-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on the Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer.
A quick reminder, that car you've been hanging on to, the one you're not using anymore, it could be worth hundreds of dollars in support to K-Squid. It's easy to do. Learn more at ksqd.org.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bring you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
Yes, jazz is always better, especially when computers get more and more complicated. Just let all that ooze out of your ears with the incredible sounds of Bobby B coming up at 7 o'clock here on KSQD and ksqd.org. Stick it tuned to 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and stick around. It'll come up at 7 o'clock. You're back with the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and ksqd.org. We've got a caller calling in. Let's see what's going on in the real world. That strobe is working. Hello. You're on with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
Hi, Luigi. I got to say, I love your story about the real player. I do remember real player. I had it, yeah. And I love the way you got in the guy's face. That was a great story.
Yeah, kind of towered over him on the ladder and then told him off. Yeah, good stuff.
And it just tickles me that you're still pissed off about it after all these years.
There's like remnants of it still like floating around. You see things that just do that same idea, and it just makes me angry that I get inundated with things. And those things always load the fastest and the best and the highest quality first. And that is not okay.
Well, I have a question about my private security, protecting my private information with big media company or internet company. But before I ask that, I just want to lead in by saying that I know you are a student of philosophy, and then you probably are well aware that Jean-Paul Sartre said that the only real philosophical question was to commit suicide or not. And the only time I feel that way is after trying to get a hold of a live person at Comcast and then talking to that person.
Oh yeah.
It's just one of the most frustrating experiences in the postmodern world. I have to say.
Yeah,
so,
I have an entire service that just does that, where I go and I talk to Comcast for you. And I hate to say that that's one of my popular services.
Oh, well, great. I'm going to take advantage of that because I'm done. I won't talk. If I want to ruin my day, call Comcast.
Exactly. Right. I always grab, I'm like, take your favorite drink or your favorite smoke, get your favorite spot, sit down, and be prepared because you're going to be in for it.
Yeah. Anyway, so my question. Having my internet provided by Comcast and my cell phone how safe, and therefore my emails, how safe is my private information with Comcast? Can they access that information? Can they, do they accumulate information about what websites I visit? And is there anything more nefarious than that that could possibly happen?
Probably. I don't know for sure. I am not completely up to date on the terms of service for Comcast, but I've got a tool for you. TLDR.org. Too long didn't read. TLDR.org. I'm sorry. It's terms of. I think it's terms of service. TOS. Hold on a second. Let me look it up real quick. There is a terms of service. Too long didn't read. Where it is TOSDR.org. I knew it was in there somewhere. So TOSDR.org is terms of service didn't read. There's an acronym online. TLDR means too long didn't read. So people might write a whole story and then at the bottom they'll do a little 3-sentence thing like TLDR. I went to the store. The guy kicked my butt. I don't have my slushie anymore. But the whole story above is all about, oh my gosh, I went to the store and did all these things. And it kind of goes on and on. So TOSDR is the terms of service didn't read, and almost guaranteed there's the Comcast and Xfinity terms of service in there. And what it'll do is it'll highlight the things that you need to see, including data security. Will they be able to sell your stuff? Because I know if you do Google Drive absolutely has the right to not only sell anything that they have in there, but they'll be able to look into your Google Sheets, Google Docs, all that kind of stuff. I don't know why they would, but they can. It's a part of their rights. And I think it's also to release legality for any types of law enforcement type stuff. But they do some creepy stuff, and they can do some creepy stuff that you sign up for when you use the service. So I would check out tosdr.org and look into Comcast just to see what you've already signed away. On the other side, I don't like Comcast's email service. If you're a listener to the show, I complain about these email services because if your email address is with the email service, you are then not only advertising for that service, but you've kind of gotten yourself trapped into that email service if you want to move out of the service. And a lot of times they just give that to you as a thing, and we start relying on it for logins, we start relying on it for security stuff when there's not a lot of security behind it. You're paying for an internet service that comes with a modem, that comes with an email address, but the security on that is really the low tier of what they're concerned with. They don't care about that email security box, opposed to something like Proton Mail, which is designed for security, designed to be something secure, designed to be something in the current day 21st century to the 2024 style of email and with protections, and that's what they do, rather than just having it be an extra thing that just gets thrown onto an email service. So, okay, I get emails from a family friend almost every other day. Hey, is this real? Hey, is this real? And it's coming into their inbox. They mark it as spam all the time from their Xfinity inbox, and it's constantly scams, constantly fake. And we go through unsubscribes, we go through blocking. It doesn't stop it. There's just no filtering rules. But if we were to get him on his Gmail, and everything that we've been forwarding to his Gmail that we've been set up that he doesn't like to use, but it is forwarded to his Gmail. If we go into Gmail, he has a quarter of the email in his inbox because those filtering rules are doing what they're supposed to be doing and moving out the stuff that's garbage. And so I have a hard time with the free emails that we get from Comcast, from Cruise.io, from all these ones, because it's advertising for them, and they don't care about any of your protections in there, especially now that we kind of need that. Before it was just junk mail and stuff. Who cares? I got a card from grandma, big deal. It's great to get, but now we're using it for logins. We're using them for security codes. We're using them for things that we need, and I don't like the way that Xfinity handles customer stuff. They just don't care.
Can I ask you one more question about Comcast, since you
please
regularly deal with them? And this may be beyond your range of advice, because although you've talked about things pertaining to smart TVs, this may or may not be something you can answer. But have you found that there is a way to get out from under the big expense of having the Xfinity on your TV? Are there apps is there an app or other apps that you may be able to get rid of your Comcast Xfinity and get the same channels that you like to watch? Have you had any experience with that or know anything about that?
Yes, and I get asked that all the time, and there's a number of different ways to go. are they? It's with when you get your Comcast, your television. You sit down in your chair, you turn on the television set, and you can flip through channels, right? Flip through the guide, flip through looking through things. That's like an all-in-one one-stop shop for television, and you pay for that convenience of having everything in one place. Now everything's going to streaming services and going to all these different places and all, online. You can do all these things. We can open a web browser inside of our television box and all these different things we can do now. So I would ask, and it's case by case, to be honest. Like, it depends on what you watch, depends on what the style of stuff you like. And what I usually do is I'll set somebody up with like a Roku. You heard of Roku, like the streaming boxes?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Roku has 100,000 apps you can download. One of them is called Pluto TV, and I set this up for a lot of my elderly clients, and just to kind of get them started to see if it could cancel their cable boxes. Because I'll go to some of these people's houses and they're paying $160 a month for cable, and I'm like, "What are you watching on here?" They're like, "Oh, I'm watching this. I watch these 3 news channels, and I watch this old movie channel, and I watch this." And sometimes that like they want to watch Speed Vision. You have to get Speed. You have to buy 90 other channels just to get this one channel.
Right.
So
Right.
couple ways you can do it. One, jump on to get a Roku from a friend that's free. You don't have to pay anything for the Roku or whatever, or spend the $39 for a Roku box. Plug it in, download Pluto TV, and look through Pluto's free television. Every 10 minutes, there's 2 ads, I think. So you're going to see ads on anything that's going to be free. That's just the kind of the way that it is. If you're not seeing ads on something that's free, it's probably not too great. It's probably doing something else. But again, on a Roku box and stuff like that, it's all locked down. Pluto TV has the most comprehensive free list of stuff that you're going to be able to find. You can find old television shows. They'll have a full block of news things from all over the world. They'll have old school movies, and they'll have like a movie section of different types of movies, and you can actually snap over, and there's a whole on-demand section of movies, and a lot of them aren't that great, but there's a lot of movies there. And it's all free, like free. Never sign. You don't have to sign any documents or set up any accounts. It just, you download the app, you start, and you go, and it's really cool. Pluto TV.
So you have to buy the box, the Roku box.
Yeah, you have to have some type of streaming box. A lot of smart TVs have the ability to just download the Pluto app directly into the smart TV. I don't personally like using the smart TV's processor because they always suck, and they just make me angry because I know how fast it's supposed to be, and I'm a big complainer with that kind of stuff, but I'm also special. So
the big thing is, the big drawback is, like you mentioned, you've got 150 channels in your package, and you're watching a half a dozen.
Exactly. So I would ask which ones you're watching, and we may be able to just either go and get those specific streaming services, which might cover you. You might be covered with like Paramount Plus, and then get a Netflix, and then get Hulu. And if you have those 3, instead of paying $160, you're going to be paying like maybe $60 with no ads. Let's say you buy the one that has no ads on it, and so then now you're getting 80% of the channels you had before, with 80% of the shows you want to watch, and you're paying like a half or a quarter of what you were paying before. And then the shows kind of change, and things kind of and you go, I'm not using the service as much, so you cancel that service, and you're like, actually this other show started up on this other service, so you start that one up for a month. And you kind of jump between services. That's another way of doing it. Another option is to find a friend that's getting cable, that always going to get cable, they're never not going to get cable, and then talk with them and go, hey, I would like to use your login on my streaming service. Now, I do this with a couple of my brothers. I do this with a couple of my friends, where if it's a streaming service that they're like, I'm always going to watch this one show on Paramount Plus. I want Paramount Plus all the time, da-da-da-da. And if you have that cable package, it gives you a free login on any streaming box, because you're already paying for the cable login on your unit, on your Xfinity account. So then it gives you the account to log into, and on any device anywhere else you are. But you are now 2 people, and you are now your friend logging in at your home with your Roku box using their credentials, and now all of a sudden you have Paramount. Now all of a sudden you have CNN. Now all of a sudden you have NBC or ABC or CBS or whatever these ones are that you're going for. It's a little bit of a pain. And sometimes it logs out, so you got to call your buddy. Hey, buddy, I'm going to log back in real quick. Give me that code. And they go, okay, here's your code. Boom, okay, thanks. And you're on for another 6 months or something. And but that's a friend. That's another way of doing it.
Yeah.
And you're also not paying, and you also don't have any ads. So there's a number of ways around it. But there's you're paying for convenience, and you're also paying for not seeing the same ad 20 times on some like Pluto TV thing. But there are ways to get around some of the cable boxes, but it really depends on what you want to watch. And if you're watching something obscure and kind of weird, we might be able to just find that. Or we might be able to find a service that does a lot of that type of genre, or and so it's all personal preference or personal each person. But that's kind of like my 3 ways of getting around cable.
And do you think with the proliferation of all the independent apps that you could watch, do you foresee in the near future where like Xfinity or DirecTV won't be able to have a market for people purchasing their packages because they can just go to the apps?
I thought that for a while, but now everyone is splitting up with with all their own streaming services, and the cost of all the streaming services together to get a lot of this stuff is approaching what cable would be. So I used to say, yes, absolutely, cable's dead. Cable's dying. Get away from it. But now the streaming packages are getting so greedy. Netflix is not $6.99 anymore. It's like $23 if you want. And then if you want, if you don't want ads, Hulu is $14.99. It's not like $6.99 anymore. There's like the costs have gone up, and they've been adding up. And like right now, I probably pay $60 a month right now for my streaming services. And now, granted, I give it to my brothers too, and I have like another, and I also do with no ads, so I pay like just a slightly bit more. But like I probably have about $65 in streaming services per month that I pay, and that's a lot. And I don't have a lot of services. I'm still using one of the services from my buddy. I'm still using another service from my brother. And it's not, and those are the ones I use. And so the ones I'm paying for, I'm amassing up about 65. So I don't think so. I used to think that, but I'm really not sure where things are going. And people are just going back to pirating now because they're removing things. I'm building a Lego Titanic. I'm watching Titanic as I'm building my Lego Titanic. I'm watching the movie as I'm going. The ship's just about to sink on my next bag. I go the next day to grab the movie. It's gone. It's not on Netflix. It's not on Amazon. It's not on Hulu. It's not on this. It's not on that. It's been removed from everything except from some random thing like over on Tubi or something because some rights got taken away. Can I put my Titanic DVD in? Yes, if I find it in my storage unit. So it's just, we're all going back to like pirating and stuff because things are being taken away. So digital media is going in a very interesting way, and people are kind of waking up to like, whoa, I really wanted to watch Star Trek Next Generation, and now I can't because it was on Netflix, and now it's on Paramount, and I've got to pay extra for Paramount. Wait a minute. I wish I would have bought those DVDs back in the day.
What about digital antennas? People have suggested to me that you can get local channels.
Yes.
Like we like to watch PBS. And
yes.
I wouldn't, one of the things that keeps me from getting rid of Xfinity is I won't be able to watch all the great stuff on PBS. What about a digital antenna? Do they work?
Yes, they do, as long as you have the signal coming to you. And we're not talking about we're not talking about the analog waves that give nice, rolling ocean waves anymore. We're talking about a digital signal, which is like kind of like a spear. So you'll see those big blades that are digital antennas. Your television should have a digital conversion box it built into it. We used to get those back in the day, but now every television has it. If it's a flat screen, it should be able to take the digital signal directly in. But that thing needs to get up. So you can get a digital antenna for $20 and put it in your window and do an auto search and see what you get. Different times of day, you'll get different channels because of atmospheric conditions, etc. Or if you can get that thing on a pole or up on your roof, you're going to get a lot more signal. But yes, those do work, and we do get some local channels. The hills kind of get us a little bit. The ocean kind of gets us a little bit. But there are some signals coming through.
Thanks for all that great information, Luigi.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening, and thanks for the call. I appreciate you. All right, have a good one. And that leaves the phone lines open for you here at 831-900-5773. In fact, you know what we're going to do? We have about 10 minutes left. I'm going to close the phones for this evening. It's been wonderful talking with all of you, but I just want to get to some email questions before we go in the last 10 minutes here. So I've got this packet I've been bringing in for a week, and I've got it whittled down to 16 pages. So I'm going through it front to back. And if you have a question, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org, feel free to hit me up. And I believe we talked about this one last week, but I liked it, so we're going to talk about it again. Circles are randomly appearing on this person's desktop. They have a touchscreen laptop, and they say, these circles appear randomly on my client's desktop, doesn't allow any of the inputs after several restarts. I have absolutely zero idea what it could be. If you see a circle show up that's usually to respond to it looks almost like a ripple in water. That is a touch screen response on a Windows machine. If you touch the screen, it goes bloop, it has like a little ripple. If this person says they see 10 circles on their screen, 10 circles would mean that all 10 fingers are on the screen, meaning there's probably a broken touch matrix on the screen somewhere. There might be a crack somewhere. There might be a hairline crack you can't even see, but it's reflecting light enough to give phantom touches, and those are then being represented by those circles. So multi-point touch screens, they have you can have up to 10 fingers on them, which is being represented by the 10 circles, but you're going to have to get into the control panel and disable the HID interface device that is matched with the tablet, or it was matched with the touchscreen. So yeah. Okay, let's see. So let's go on to the next one here. Can you explain why my Wi-Fi keeps giving me this message? WEP is not considered secure. If this is your Wi-Fi network, configure the router to use WPA2 or WAP type security. So my boyfriend originally told me it was because I wasn't paying the Wi-Fi. No, there's no Wi-Fi to pay. You don't have to pay the Wi-Fi. But it's being paid for monthly, so I really have no idea what's going on here. Your internet is paid for, and you have your Wi-Fi come out of the router, just to let you know. I've reset my router about 1,000 times, okay, this month, and it still hasn't changed. This happens randomly, so I'm not sure what the problem is. Anyone else ever seen this? So this person also says, I live in an apartment complex with my mother, who got the router from an office manager or whatever, and I live with my mother, and neither her nor I have any type of laptop or PC. Okay, so what that is that your router is actually broadcasting a security. When you put in your password for, you go on, you sign on to your Wi-Fi, whatever the name is, and then it says, what's your password? And you put in your password, and it shows up in those dots. Those dots are being encrypted right on your device and then sent as an encryption matrix to the router to confirm that they are the same one that's inside the router. If you use the wrong key to decrypt and encrypt, then you can send the correct data, but it'll be in completely different format. It'll look different because the encryption key has been used for another key, right? It's like using the wrong key in a lock. You go home, you use your car key in the house, and it doesn't open the house, but it does open the car, but you're not at the car, you're at the house. So same thing with this. If you don't use the right encryption key for your Wi-Fi, it will not allow you to go on. Now, what this is saying is that that current day, in 2024, we should be using WPA3 or what's called AES as your security type. And WEP back in the day, WEP was one of the first types of securities where you could drive around war driving in your car and try to find people's wireless networks and try to hack into them. Not that I did that. So WPA2 or WEP is not considered secure. So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, your router is old. It has been set to a WEP security. It's probably 10 or 15-year-old router. And your device, which is current day because it constantly gets updates, it constantly talks with the internet, it is up to date as of May 2024. It is saying, hey, as of May 2024, this security that you're getting from your router, which is circa 2010, is out of date for security. Granted, it will still work. You can still use your machine. It still will communicate. I can still receive your password. It has been outdated many, many, many times to be not secure. So if you have things on this network that you don't want someone trying to get into, if they're trying to get into it, because no one really does that, but if they do, then they could easier on this network because of the earlier encryption, you should update the router to make more current encryption. And so the iPhone or the Android phone is telling you that because it's old. Not that your phone's old, but because your router's old. And most likely you could go into your router and update that or update the firmware, which would then give other encryption matrices that have now been used and actually allow the router to be current modelized based on just its operating system. But that's all it is. It's just telling you, hey, the encryption matrix is old. It is susceptible to hacks. Easier if someone's trying to screw with you or try to get into your stuff. Just want to let you know. Okay, but that's the message. All right. Here's another one. Can I get hacked if I use someone else's mobile hotspot? Today I asked a stranger to borrow his mobile hotspot because I ran out of mine. Is there a possibility that he could hack me? And if so, how could I avoid it? And so, yeah, I guess it's possible, but it's unlikely. It's not going to happen. They had to have something completely set up, and they had to be like fishing for people and then take some type of connection, which would then go to some other type of... It's just not going to happen. Like almost every website uses some type of encryption, like HTTPS now, to send and receive traffic. And that prevents, just like we were talking about with the encryption matrix, it basically prevents anyone from seeing what's going on through the air because it's encrypted sent through the air, and then decrypted to show what's going on. So you can't really see exactly what things are happening. Like if you look at your website and any website that opens up there, it says HTTPS. The HTTPS means that it is a secure website. Just one of those things. So if you... It's just really unlikely, man. I just don't think that would happen. If the only thing I can think of is they do that man in the middle thing where they, like they set up the fake tower and then your phone connects to that fake tower, which then connects to the real tower. So it doesn't look like anything on your phone, but every single bit of traffic is being captured by that thing. But it has to be a man in the middle thing that has to make sense. I'm totally spitballing like movie stuff. This is just, it's not going to happen. If you're worried about it, grab a VPN. The VPN will give you a dedicated tunnel to another place so that it will circumnavigate, not going around the globe, circumvent the current internet that you're using and go through another tunnel that's more trusted possibly. But even the VPN can see your unencrypted traffic and you're just moving it to another place. So if you're doing anything illegal, you're not going to be hidden from that. It's just going through different tubes to the same endpoint. But no, you're not going to get hacked through someone else's mobile hotspot. That's just not going to happen. Okay, let's see another one here in our last few minutes. I really want to talk about this one because I see this a lot and I get asked this a lot, and it's one of those things that I really feel it's kind of been blown out of proportion. Is it ideal to store games on external hard drives? So this person says, I'm running low on storage with my laptop, thinking of getting a Seagate 8 terabyte external hard drive. Will games run like normal if it's stored there, like Call of Duty? What's the pros and cons of it? I could always upgrade the solid state drive, but it's a bit more expensive. And you're like, yeah, and you have to copy your operating system off. You have to get it cloned. There's a lot of process if you're just updating your internal hard drive. Why not get external storage? And people are like, oh gosh, IQ can't run games off that, Like, dude, if you get a decent external hard drive with a certified USB 3 port, and you have a USB 3 port on your laptop, yeah, you're not going to get the solid state drive boot times, but that's how a lot of people do it on their computers. They'll have a spinning hard drive that stores all their game data, that stores the game, and then they play from that. It's not going to be as fast as a solid state drive. Nothing is. It's not as fast as a solid state drive unless you're a solid state drive. But if you're running your game from an external hard drive, I think that'd be just fine. And especially with the speeds that we have now and the data rates, I don't think there's any problem with that at all. I'm glad you asked this because there's so many people who are like, oh, dude, I need solid state drives for everything. I can't store this. I need a bigger solid state drive. I need this, I need that. I'm like, dude, the games don't take up that much space. It loads everything into memory, it loads everything up, and then it's ready to rock and roll. Just pull it out of the storage you're pulling out of is going to make the load 20 seconds instead of like the 8 seconds it would be on a solid state drive or the 6 seconds or whatever. So you're sitting around a little bit longer, but no big deal. And you've saved yourself a lot of money, and you've got an 8 terabyte hard drive to put all sorts of stuff on. No big deal. Now if the drive dies or you have to plug it in, you have to remember to plug it in and everything. But other than that, you're set to go. So do it. I like that. I'm glad someone asked that because yes, external hard drives are still okay and you can still use them. Go for it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I reached the end of another Computer Man show. If I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Remember, tune into the Computer Man show here on Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stone, Helen Feldstein, Reggie Gibbon, David Kibber, John Sanders, all of Santa Cruz, Nicholas Hezels, the Waz, Mr. Gason, Torvalds, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I am your Computer Man here on K-Squid, KSQD 90.7 FM, and KSQD.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.